Right, and welcome back to Howson Versus, the one and only show that's going to put the world to rights. Whether we are right or we are wrong, we think we're right, and that's what we're going with. And we're starting today with someone who is always wrong, Richard Keys. And actually Sport Bible, right? And they're literally over the road from us. So if you got beef, let's have it out in the middle of the street, all right? Here's why we've got beef. So they tweeted, Facebooked, or whatever the hell they did this week. Richard Keys breaks down 115 of Manchester City's FFP charges live on air. Nobody has done it as thoroughly. Now you might be thinking, okay, Steve, not everyone's going to watch this little mom and pop operation, but we did it. Roll VT. The Premier League has charged Manchester City with more than 100 breaches of financial rules following a 4-year investigation. We did it. I literally sat here, donned a shirt and tie, glasses on, and read 115 of Manchester City's charges. Didn't put any spin on them. I just read what they was charged with, right? When did we do that? 11 fucking months ago. You know, Sport Bible not going to be aware of every shitty little podcast out there, Steve. No, you're right. They did a fucking article on it when we did it. Fuck. Joe Ethan spent 3 hours trying to do that. Nay, 3 days trying to do that because the little fucker can't read legalese. 3 days research, poor little Ethan had to do that to actually put them in plain English. Richard Keys, standing on the shoulders of little people like Ethan. Kid knob. Righty then, Old Trafford in the rain. Feels like an 80s ballad, doesn't it? But it's not. It actually looked like an 80s music video for large parts of the game the other night. I got caught in it a little bit before getting back to my car. I'll tell you this, I was getting on the motorway, the road was that flooded, you couldn't see the bottom of the crash barriers at the side. Deep water. Now, there was a biblical amount of rain that just fell out of the sky on Old Trafford at the weekend. And actually, the rain coming off the front where the roofs like meet like that, I don't think that's a massive issue. I think that's kind of how roofs are designed to be. Did you know the roof on the North Stand is bigger than the actual pitch? It's bigger. So that's some serious surface area for water to fall and then cascade down to the front of it. I don't think that's a massive drama with the roofs, because that's not the roof leaking. That's just where two bits of roof fucking meet. However, when it's leaking inside the dressing room, that's a bit different, isn't it? When it's pissing out of, like, the executive bits, that's a bit different, isn't it? And when you've got waterfalls of water running under the seats like you're on fucking Mount Longquan, Google it, I think you'll find that's a perfect cultural reference. That's not fucking good enough, is it, right? Why does it look like this? I'll tell you why it looks like this. Because for 19 years, the Glazers have fucked us. No problem withdrawing dividends. What's that? You want a Karcher to go and get some of the moss off the front of Old Trafford? I don't fucking think so. I was looking underneath some of the girders on the way into the ground the other day, and I was just thinking, how is this like a main route underneath the stadium and it looks like this? They have literally been the worst fucking owners. They have completely abused this football club. They have taken out, you know, people talk about United's fucking net spend since blah, blah, blah. We spent more on debt refinancing for the privilege of having these lot shaft the club. We got nothing out of it. Do you know, like, Tottenham are in debt at the moment because they've got one of the best stadiums in the fucking world, right? So at least when they go, Jesus Christ, we're in a lot of debt. Got a new shiny gaff though, haven't we? We go, hey, we're a fucking billion and something in debt. We are $1 billion and something in debt. We've paid 1.5 billion. And we got nothing to show for it. All that has happened since they've owned us is they've took. The training ground, which once was state of the art, is now renowned for being an utter dump, right? And you don't think that the jungle drums are talking. You don't think players know this. If Manchester United was hitting the news because we've got this new bit of technology and this new bit of technology, and all the news reports came out about how Manchester United had spent 19 million on some fucking science geek to come in and do some science shit, right? Or the fact that they haven't changed the pool tiles in 20 fucking years. Which of those two fucking scenarios do you want to go and sign for as a young footballer? I was literally talking to a gentleman that has got a kid that's playing professional sort of academy football at the moment, and he went and experienced Manchester City as an opposition player and Manchester United as an opposition player. Obviously, the Etihad complex. He said they was brought into the Etihad complex. They take you through that little door at the front. They've got like a 3D model built into the floor so you can walk around it, go ooh ah and all that bullshit, and then they take you into all of this stuff, and it looks fantastic, and you feel, oh wow, I'll tell you what, this is absolutely. He's a United fan, by the way. He's telling me this as a Manchester United fan. His kid plays for another team. And then they went to United. Now, in a little bit of mitigation, they was at the Cliff, and because the Cliff is still used, and I think the Cliff should still be used, and it should be maybe treated with a bit of reverence, because this is where Duncan Edwards trained and Bobby Charlton trained and all the rest of them, and obviously the class of 92 and Cantona, etc., and where the treble was won. Why don't we fucking treat it like that? Maybe make it like a rite of passage for some players to have to come through there. But maybe put a bit of effort into it. The last time I was at the Cliff, Manchester United had a letter missing because it had fell off. It's fucking embarrassing. How are you as an owner not completely and utterly embarrassed? Oh, because you only come to collect your fucking dividend or turn up at Wembley. Fucking pricks don't turn up at Old Trafford, do they? Because they get hounded out, as it should be. Turn up at Wembley for a nice day out and a fucking cucumber sandwich, though, don't they? No fucking danger. Yes, it was the Cliff. It wasn't Carrington, but the point stands. When people are coming to Manchester United's facilities, we are starting to fail to attract the best talent in the area, because when they go and see what 115 FC have got versus what Manchester United FC are offering them, if you can't trust them to replace the fucking letter in Manchester United or keep the toilets clean, because that was one of the things he mentioned at the Cliff, is that the shitters were disgusting. How can they trust you to get the best coaching for these young footballers? And young footballers are quite rightly turning off from joining Manchester United because of that. And it's a fucking scandal. It's an absolute scandal. Don't tell me these are good owners. For all of the like from whether the roof's leaking or not, whatever, from all of that down, that's exactly what they've been. And how they're just letting Jim Radcliffe take the reins for a quarter of the money tells you exactly what they're all about. They don't give a fuck about us. And they've never give a fuck about us. We're just someone that keeps the mortgage getting paid while they just can fucking extract it like a big old fucking cash machine. Manchester United have cancelled the end of year awards so they can focus on the FA Cup final, is how it's being spun, right? Or you could do them the day after the FA Cup final. How about that? Or you could have just fucking done them. Manchester United women have won the FA Cup. Congratulations, ladies. The United under-18s have won everything, actually. How about, just because one aspect of the team isn't quite living up to standard, and it's been horrendous of late, it's not fair on the rest of the club that you cancel that. I think United have fucked up there. I think United have massively fucked up there. Has it been a vintage season for us? No. I don't know of an awards due being cancelled before. It probably has, right? I just don't know of it. It just doesn't send the right fucking message to me. It certainly doesn't send the message that you're supporting what's going on with women's football. And some people in the comments, I don't give a fuck about women's football. Okay, cool. You might not give a fuck about women's football, right? But the club pretends it does. So either just be honest and say, actually, we don't give a fuck about women's football, or actually give a fuck about women's football. Just don't pretend that you give a fuck about women's football, because I tell you this, if United win the FA Cup, the first team, the men's team win the FA Cup, you'll make a big deal out of it. So why wouldn't you do the same for the women? And why won't you do the same? You've encouraged success. That's what Manchester United are built on, right? The only team that's had an academy player in every single matchday squad since 1930 motherfucking 8. Yet you're not going to celebrate their achievements. Right, got you. Know where your priorities lie. Right, some Herbert said Liverpool will now definitely finish third and they'll get 84 points. It'll be a record for that position to go with winning a title earlier than anyone. What do you mean earlier than anyone? It was June when you won it, you fucking dicks. I know. Most points for runners-up and most points to ensure fourth. Fifth place, Arsenal got 75. They got 76 in 2017. Standards, eh? Yeah. Standards, eh? You fucking helmet. The Premier League has experienced a points drift. And evidently, some people don't understand what the term competitive means. Are the teams at the top pretty good? Yes, they are. Are they even good in comparison to like their peers, City aside? Are they even good in comparison to their peers from years and years ago? This Liverpool team, Salah aside, and I include Van Dijk in this, because I don't think he's all that. Certainly not been all that this year. How has he been nominated for Player of the Year, by the way? How? How on earth has he been nominated for Player of the Year? When you look at yesteryear teams, Chelsea's yesteryear team to now, Arsenal's yesteryear, like Arsenal, like who out of this current Arsenal side, if any, like you might think Odegaard's a good player, okay, cool. You might think Rice is a good player, okay, cool. Saka doesn't get anywhere near previous Arsenal teams, the ones that actually won stuff over 20 years ago, so some of you won't remember. Are you taking Odegaard over Bergkamp? Are you taking the non-entity of a striker that they've got, whether it's Trossard or Havertz, over Ian Wright or Thierry Henry? No. Or even Kanu? No. So why are these teams getting more points? And why did it used to be that you had to hit that 40 points mark to be safe in the Premier League? You can get fucking 27 and you might be safe in the Premier League at the moment. What's happening here? The teams at the top are getting more and the teams at the bottom are getting less. Points drift. The last Chelsea side that won it got like 90-something points, which I think was more than what Jose Mourinho got in terms of points. Is any Chelsea fan willing to come and argue that Conte's Chelsea were a better football team than Jose Mourinho's in the 2004-2005? I didn't think so. Manchester United's treble-winning side, for me, the perfect football side, York, Cole, Solskjaer, Sheringham as backup, a midfield of Beckham, Giggs, Keenan, Scholes. I am drooling at the mouth saying it. Johnson, Stam, Neville, Irwin, Schmeichel. They got 79 points the season we won the treble. We got 81 fucking points with Jose Mourinho and Ashley Young. Are you honestly prepared to make the case that Ashley Young, captained Manchester United, are better than the fucking treble winners? If you are, I will give you this argument that points actually means anything. But if you're a normal, sane person with a fully functioning brain, then of course the points drift means that the league is less competitive. Less competitive. It was more like, anyone could beat anyone. No, you've just heard what the Premier League have been saying for the last 30 fucking years. Don't make it true. And actually, it's proven every single season. The average, you can always pick outliers. That's because they're outliers. The average number of points required to win the league and be in the top four is getting more and more and more. And the average number of points taken by the teams at the bottom is getting less and less and less. That means the teams at the top are beating the teams at the bottom even more. So that, anyone can beat anyone on their fucking day. Who was the last non-Big Six winner of the FA Cup? Wigan. It was over a decade ago. When was the last true shock? The three teams that are going up and the three teams going down. Real competitive Premier League, lads. Real competitive. Fuck off. Gone are the days where Nottingham Forest can come up from the Championship and then win the fucking top division and then go win the Champions League. That's competitive, you fucking dicks. No, it ain't competitive no more. And I'll tell you there's a couple of reasons for this. Squad size has increased. The extra substitutes has made it like easier for bigger teams to ride out. So those outlier results where you might have got a Luton that snatch a grab a point against City or something like that, it doesn't happen quite so much no more because that extra squad depth has stopped that. The extra 5 subs means those extra quality players that are coming off the bench are going to be of an even higher quality than you're able to put on as your subs to keep your foot to the floor a little bit. It's not as competitive. And a lot of that is because of the TV money at the top end. It is concentrated. It isn't competitive. I don't know what to say to people when they say it's competitive. And also, if you look at the football that United played, 95, 96, I tweeted this in the week as well. There's rotations. There's fullbacks inverting. United defending on the halfway line. We're playing 1 and 2 touch. There's third man runs. Like, what so-called, we're in counter-press positions. What so-called modern football couldn't that Manchester United team of the 90s play? They'd absolutely box up most teams at the moment. This City team's probably the best team in the world, even though they're not going to win the Champions League this year. I think they probably are the best team in the world. And actually, I think Arsenal have played some of the best football in the Premier League, probably better than City this year. But that doesn't mean they'd have done a fucking damn thing against the 08 United side, or the 99 United side, or the super criminally underrated 1994 United side, which was just hampered in Europe. And all like Klopp's fucking points tally compared to Sir Alex Ferguson's is like, it's similar. Right, but he won one title. So what does that tell you? It's a lot of old fucking nonsense. And this isn't everything was better when United did it. It's, I'll just give you an example there of Nottingham Forest. They come up, they win the league, they go and win the Champions League. That's competitive. That shows you the strength and depth of the league. Now, if I was to sit here last year, 12 months ago, and say, listen, lads, Luton are going to get promoted, then they're going to win the Premier League, and next year they're going to win the Champions League, you would have me sectioned. That's not going to happen. That sort of shit used to happen. I think United, when we came up from the second division in the 70s, I think we came second the following season. That's competitive. It ain't competitive no more. Just because it's like loads of points at the top and there's not a lot of gaps between them, it's close at the top. That doesn't mean it's competitive for everyone. So shut up. Right, we're not letting this go by without taking a piss out of Arsenal fans, but I couldn't take the piss out of Arsenal fans more than they've took the piss out of themselves. So there was a fella on Arsenal Fan TV, and all right, it's my own fault for bringing any Arsenal Fan TV content to the world and saying, well, I expected a level of common sense. That's on me. I will accept that, and I'll try and be better. But there's a fella on it, the fella on Arsenal Fan TV that's complaining that he wants to take penalties against Gunnosaurus.
And I'd want Gunnosaurus to actually try and save the penalties as well, because that's another thing. Gunnosaurus always jumps out of the way. So what's the point? It's not really a competition because everyone scores. So
this is little kids trying to...
Yeah, but little kids, I'm not saying little kids can't play. Everyone wants to be taking a penalty at half-time in front of the crowd. I want that opportunity.
He says it's not fun or entertaining when you know he won't save it. Right. You know, it's 5-year-olds that are generally going and taking penalties against mascot dinosaurs on the pitch at half-time. What entertainment are you looking for? Go get a beer, you absolute sausage. What? I couldn't summarise Arsenal fans more than all of the things that's going on in the world. All of the things that's going on in sport, in football, all of the things that you can discuss. You've just had a fantastic season. You have got a great team. And you get onto a podcast and you go, listen, Robbie, we need to talk about Gunnosaurus and why it's not fun or entertaining that 5-year-olds are taking fucking penalties on a pitch. And then goes on to be like, I want to take penalties. If this is your mate, slap him, please. Because he needs a reality check. And actually, if you're mates with Arsenal fans, you can kind of follow that advice as well. What the fuck are they doing? And I'm going to pose this question to you. Arsenal probably going to come second. Back-to-back seconds. So that's winning nothing for those who couldn't do the maths. If United win the FA Cup, which I give us like a solid 11% chance of doing, if United managed to win the FA Cup and we followed up on last season's EFL Cup, okay, we didn't get Champions League football this year, but as people tell me, that's no achievement, right? Football's about winning stuff. If Ten Hag has won the EFL trophy and an FA Cup in his first 2 seasons, who's had a better season? Now, you might feel better as an Arsenal fan, I'll give you that, right? It doesn't feel great as a United fan at the moment, but if we win an FA Cup and you don't win anything again, and the last 2 years Manchester United have actually lifted trophies at Wembley, like I said, 89% chance that we don't, but 11% chance that we do. Who's had a better season? I think you can make the case that winning shit, it beats not winning shit Or am I wrong? Let me know in the comments. See you in a bit.